Hello, YouTubers, friends, compatriots, hooligan shills, dust like sirs, peasants, vassals, music fans. I'm a useful idiot, and although I generally do videos on geopolitics, history, current events, and economics, my first love is music. So here I am again, bringing some more music news, and unfortunately it's more of the same. Today marks the passing of Ray Manzarek at 74, the keyboard player for the legendary Doors. And people argue that the Doors could never be the Doors without Jim Morrison. But that also goes for Ray Manzarek, somebody who managed to take a keyboard and turn it into something transcendent in the context of the Doors. And I can't really say much here to add to the legend. Everybody knows about the Doors, everybody knows their music, and I can't really add too much to inform people or expand on his legend. But what I can say is some of the things I know about the Doors. First of all, it's rather interesting to hear their most early demos from the 1965, where they sounded like just another flower power band, and yet very short amount of time, by 1966 and 1967, they had developed a very timeless and dark carnival vision of what rock could be. And the fact that they could release a first record and a second record that are unmitigated masterpieces by anyone's measure is pretty astounding to this day. And the fact that their music sounds relevant and powerful and timely to this day after some 30, 40 years is another staggering commentary on how great that band was. And certainly as their career went on, the material got a little more spotty, the records got a little more spotty, but there was always something transcendent and amazing, even in the midst of some questionable material. And then the rumors continue to this day of whether Jim Morrison is still alive or not, because he is exactly the kind of person that would have faked his own death. But I digress. Who could forget Ray Manzarek's keyboard sound in that band? A band who actually, in an era of guitars, had a band that was dominated by the keyboard. And the fact that he could take such a simple approach to his instrument, and once again, in an era when people used banks of all sorts of keyboards simultaneously, like bands like Yes, Ray Manzarek always stuck to his little organ and managed to get an entire universe out of it. And also, if one looks at all the live concerts that are now thankfully available by the Doors, one can see the incredible improvisatory nature of this group, of which Ray Manzarek was a huge part of. The fact that they could expand on their themes to any length they wanted, and the fact that Ray Manzarek and Jim Morrison could play off each other to such a great extent is another great commentary about the quality of the band, the Doors, and Ray Manzarek's special vision. And I will add also to the fact that it's rather interesting that the Doors actually made 2 more records after Jim Morrison died, credited to the Doors. And unfortunately, without Jim Morrison's focus, their lackluster efforts with some revealing beauty of their own, but nonetheless not quite the staggering quartet that the original Doors were. And one other thing I want to add that's kind of interesting is apparently right after Jim Morrison died, or at least sometime thereafter, the one person the Doors considered replacing Jim Morrison was Iggy Pop. And that's not too surprising, considering the Doors were recording right next to the Stooges when they recorded their legendary album Funhouse. And I'm sure they were astounded by what they saw. And they also saw the kinship between Iggy Pop and Jim Morrison, and this sense of danger and sense of abandonment, and pushing rock and roll to its limits. And that certainly would have been an interesting combination, but something that will never happen. And of course, over the years, Ray Manzarek's been involved in lots of little interesting projects and solo records and collaborations and Doors reunions of somewhat of approximation of what the Doors used to be. But he never really tarnished the name of the Doors, and I got to hand it to him for that. And Ray Manzarek, you certainly were another person in rock and roll that easily qualifies as a genius, and you will be missed. And at the age of 74, unfortunately, we're reaching that point where a lot of people that made the 60s and the early 70s a great time for music will be joining Ray and all of his friends soon. We're just in that type of era. So sadly, a comment today on the passing of Ray Manzarek at 74, keyboardist genius for the legendary Doors. I'm useful, Lydia. Don't you be one too.